Anne stood in front of the mirror for a long time before leaving the house. She felt this evening was a test, a trial of resilience. The dress fit perfectly, light makeup highlighted the freshness of her face, and her gaze was firm and confident. Her children moved around her. Her son was showing off his new phone, and her daughter twirled in a new dress like a little princess. "Mom, why are we going there?" the daughter asked. "Sometimes you have to show that you're strong, and that no change can break you," Anne replied, adjusting her son's collar. Deep inside, she had doubts about attending the anniversary of the woman who stole her husband and broke her family. But curiosity and a strange sense of quiet triumph outweighed her hesitations. She was no longer the same Anne who used to endure humiliation and reproach. She had changed. Now she was beautiful, successful, and self-sufficient. The restaurant sparkled with lights. At the entrance stood a couple, Victoria, in a luxurious glittering dress with the air of a hostess, and Victor, in a brand new suit, though his eyes were dim. "Oh, you came." Victoria smiled, but her eyes darkened as soon as she noticed how stunning Anne looked. "Come in, dear guests, make yourselves at home," she said, pretending to be glad. Victor remained silent, his gaze jumping from Anne to the children. He was clearly nervous, as if afraid his ex-wife might say something inappropriate. At the table were respected guests, entrepreneurs, Victoria's colleagues, and a few officials. Victoria tried to maintain her image. She laughed loudly, showed off her jewelry, and talked business. But every time her eyes met Anne's, her smile faltered. "And who are you?" one of Victoria's friends asked curiously. "I'm Victor's ex-wife," Anne replied calmly. A hush fell over the room. Guests exchanged glances. Anne smiled. "We came to congratulate Victoria. An anniversary is a big deal." Victoria pursed her lips but said nothing. She needed to keep up appearances, especially in front of colleagues. The children sat next to their mother, well-mannered and poised. Everyone was impressed by their upbringing. Victoria, who expected Victor's former family to show up in plain clothes, looked uncomfortable. "What lovely children you have, Anne," one guest said. "Thank you. I try to give them the best," she replied. Victor flushed. He remembered how he once shouted at Anne, calling her a freeloader. Now he sat there, realizing she was the one who raised and nurtured the kids. "You look amazing, Anne," said one man at the table, the owner of a pharmacy chain. "Do you have your own clinic?" "Not yet," Anne smiled. "I'm a cosmetologist. I love what I do, and my clients see results." The man nodded with interest. Victoria gritted her teeth. The guests' attention kept shifting toward Anne. As the party wound down, Victor approached his ex-wife. "Anne, thank you for coming. I didn't know how to ask you." "You already did," she replied calmly. "We came. The rest is your problem." He looked at her with longing. "You've changed, Anne. You're more beautiful, more confident." "Because I no longer have to prove my worth," she said quietly. At that moment, Victoria approached. "Victor, let's go. The guests are gone, it's time to leave." She looked Anne up and down with eyes that said, "You'll regret coming here." The next day, Anne returned to work. Clients were booking more actively, word of mouth doing its job. She considered opening her own space. A friend suggested, "Let's rent a place together. I'll handle the costs. You've got talent, I've got business experience." Anne agreed. Soon, they opened a cozy salon filled with heart. Clients flowed in. Meanwhile, conflicts brewed between Victor and Victoria. She began snapping more often. "You're living off me. You're nobody without me. A man should earn, not scrub pots." Victor endured, but his pride slowly dissolved. He realized he had become the kind of man he used to mock. One day, as Anne was leaving the salon, she bumped into Victor. He looked tired and aged. "Anne," he began, "can we talk?" "What is there to talk about?" she asked coldly. "You made your choice. I was wrong. Mistakes have a price, Victor. I paid mine, with tears. You, with humiliation. And that's fair." He lowered his head. "Will you ever forgive me?" "I already have. But there's no way back." Time passed. Anne's salon flourished. Her name became known in the city, and clients booked weeks in advance. Her children were proud of their mother. In her heart, something new was growing, faith in herself, and the readiness to welcome new love. One day, the same pharmacy owner from the anniversary invited her to dinner. Anne accepted. She felt ready to be a happy woman again, not just a keeper of the hearth. The new salon became Anne's second home. She and her manager friend designed it in warm tones, beige walls, large mirrors, cozy chairs, and soft music. Everything breathed comfort. Clients said they came not just for procedures but for the atmosphere. "Anne, you have magic hands," one client exclaimed after a beauty treatment. "I'm getting younger right before my eyes." Such words were Anne's biggest reward. She finally felt truly happy. Her children blossomed. Her son proudly told friends his mother was a sought-after professional. Her daughter loved helping around the salon. The family felt renewed. Word spread quickly. Victor's ex-wife now runs her own business. The news reached Victoria. "So she has a salon?" she snapped at her husband. "Well, yes," Victor replied cautiously. "They say it's doing well." "Doing well? Do you realize what that means? She showed up at my party looking fabulous, and now she's a businesswoman? I won't let people compare us." Victor was silent. Deep down, he knew Victoria wasn't just jealous of Anne's success, she envied her inner strength. Anne radiated light, while Victoria, despite her wealth, grew bitter and angry. Victor's life became a blur of chores. Mornings, take Victoria's son to school. Afternoons, shopping. Evenings, cooking. Any mistake earned scolding. "You oversalted the soup again. That shirt is wrinkled. Are you a man or a maid?" He remembered telling Anne, "I need a muse, not a doormat." Now he was the doormat. One autumn Sunday, Anne walked with her children in the park. She spotted a familiar figure on a bench. Victor, holding a bag of cheap beer, eyes hollow. "Mom, that's Dad," her son whispered. Anne approached. "Victor?" He flinched. "Anne, I'm glad to see you. You don't look well." "Victoria runs me ragged. Work, house, errands. I'm exhausted, Anne. Dead tired." She looked at him with pity, but no love. "You chose this, Victor. I didn't stop you." "I know." He looked down. "How are the kids?" "We're doing fine." His daughter came over and held Anne's hand. Victor reached out to hug her, but she pulled away. "You left us, Dad." The words hit him harder than a slap. George Williams, the pharmacy owner, invited Anne to dinner. She was hesitant at first, but her friend insisted, "You deserve happiness. Don't live alone forever." The dinner was warm and genuine. George was smart, calm, not flashy. He listened. He cared. "Anne, you have incredible energy. I haven't met a woman like you in years," he said, looking into her eyes. Anne blushed. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a wife or helper, but as a woman. Weeks later, Victoria stormed into Anne's salon. Her voice was icy. "Well, hello, Anne. Didn't think a nurse would become a cosmetology star." Anne smiled calmly. "We all find our calling. I've found mine." Victoria sat down, glaring. "I'm tired of people whispering, Victoria has money, but Anne is more successful. I won't stand for it. Why care about gossip? Live your life." "Oh, don't get smart with me. We'll see how long your little business lasts." She slammed the door on her way out. Anne shook her head. Life had just shown Victoria a mirror. George started visiting Anne more often. He offered gentle advice on business and suggested adding a second direction, selling professional cosmetics. He never pressured, always respected her space. The children liked him. Her son once said, "Mom, he's cool. Not like Dad." Anne smiled. She knew there would be challenges ahead, but for the first time in a long time, her future looked bright. Meanwhile, Victor's life kept spiraling. Victoria snapped constantly. Her business was struggling. Money vanished. One evening, she said coldly, "Victor, you're useless. Pack your things and leave." And he did. With a suitcase, no home, no family. All he had left were bitter memories and the realization that he'd lost the most important thing. He tried calling Anne, asked to meet. She didn't answer. Her life had moved on. Anne opened a second location. Her name became known beyond the city. People traveled just to visit her salon. George proposed. She thought about it for a while. But the day her children said, "Mom, we want you to be happy," she said yes. At the wedding, her colleagues joked, "Look at our bride, a true businesswoman and beauty." Anne smiled. She knew what lay ahead: happiness, peace, and respect. Somewhere, in a tiny rented room, Victor drank cheap beer, remembering the woman he had once cast aside, the woman who had been everything to him. Sparkles Anne had gone through pain and betrayal, but found herself again. She proved that happiness is possible, if you believe in yourself and aren't afraid to move forward. After the wedding, life with George changed everything. For the first time, Anne felt she had a man who didn't demand, didn't blame, didn't take advantage, he simply loved her. But the past lingered. Victor called occasionally. Anne, I get it now. I was a fool. At least let me see the kids. She sighed. Victor, they're not toys. You left them. If you want their respect, earn it. Her son refused to go. Why? So he can leave again? Let him show he cares. Victor was crushed. But he knew, trust doesn't come easy. With George's support, Anne expanded her salon into a full-fledged beauty center. He invested, helped with paperwork, and soon, the Anne Aesthetic Center opened its doors. At the grand opening, there were friends, clients, and even reporters. Ms. Anne, how did you achieve such success? A journalist asked. She smiled. It's simple. Believe in yourself, work with love, and never give up, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. She meant every word. Behind that smile were years of struggle. News of the center reached Victoria fast. She sat at home, flipping through a magazine. There was Anne, elegant and radiant, with the caption, "One of our city's most successful women." Successful? Victoria yelled. I've had my business for years. I have stores, suppliers. Maybe you should collaborate with her, her son suggested quietly. With her? Never. From that day, Victoria made it her mission to destroy Anne's success. A week later, social media buzzed with rumors. Anne's center uses bad products, causes allergies. Unsafe. Anne's friends panicked. Did you see what they're saying? It's all lies. Anne stayed calm, though worried inside. She knew Victoria was behind it. We'll prove the truth, she said firmly. We've got certificates, documents. Let them check. Inspectors came. Everything was spotless, certified, and compliant. Everything is in order, Ms. Anne, said the inspector. Looks like someone wanted to damage your reputation. When they left, Anne finally allowed herself to cry. George held her. Anne, this is just jealousy. Strong women always have enemies. But you're stronger than them all. Victor now lived in a rented room on the edge of town. He had no stable work, odd jobs, security, heavy lifting. Old friends barely recognized him. Victor, what happened to you? Life happened, he replied quietly. He knew the truth, he had destroyed his own family. Sometimes he stood outside Anne's house, watching the children play. But he didn't approach. He felt he no longer had the right. One day, Anne's son saw his father by the gate after school. Dad? Hey, you've grown. How are you? Fine. We're doing well. Victor swallowed. Son, I want you to know I love you and your sister. Too late, Dad, the boy replied seriously. If you love us, prove it with actions, not words. And he walked inside, leaving Victor with a heart full of pain. At the center, Anne held workshops for beginner cosmetologists. She was invited to conferences, interviewed on TV. People recognized her. Her children admired her. One day her daughter said, Mom, you're the strongest woman in the world. George was her rock. He helped with business, and with the family. Sometimes, in the evenings, they walked along the waterfront with the kids. Anne would think, this is real happiness. One day, Victor gathered his courage and came to the center. He waited until the clients had left and entered. Anne, he said, eyes downcast. Forgive me for everything. I ruined our life. I broke your trust. I was blind. Now I see the kind of person you are. You're 100 times better than me. Anne looked at him calmly. Victor, I forgave you long ago. But that doesn't mean the past can return. I have a new life now. He nodded. I know. I just needed to hear it from you. And he left, never to return. Years passed. Anne's beauty center became a chain. Her name became known even beyond the city. She raised her children, loved George, and lived in harmony. Sometimes at night, she thought of the past. And realized, without the pain, betrayal, and loss, she wouldn't be who she was now. She had learned something important. No one has the right to dim the light in a woman's soul. And even if that light goes out, it can always be reignited by her own hand.